that went better than I thought it was gonna. Now you just need to check to make sure your chain is inside the track. And the other thing that can happen then is that the bar, there's a little track right here that this chain runs in. It can be pinched. You know, if there's enough pressure, this one was probably too small, but if there's enough pressure on that, it can actually sandwich this together, and then it makes your chain not run smoothly. So you just check it to make sure it's going in and out okay. So no harm, no foul on this one. Just need to slow down a little bit.
One thing you want to do when you're about to drop a tree that is fetched up like this is make sure your escape path is clear. You may have to jump back quickly. In fact, you probably should. You'll have a very powerful machine that's designed to rip things apart running in your hand, and several thousand pounds of tree rushing toward the ground just ahead of you. The last thing you want to do is successfully evade the tree, only to trip on some brush and cut off your leg or smack your head on a rock.
Some of my other videos I've talked about the importance of maintaining your property lines and about having clean lines elsewhere. So what I'm doing now is just cleaning up all the detritus and the brush that I've just cleared out from this. I'm trying to always improve my roadways a little bit so it's easier to get it up and down. Very rocky, very bumpy here. I don't need to be adding to it by having stuff to trip over, stuff that gets caught on my skis in the winter. So I just try to clean it up. I don't want this to be the rule everywhere in the forest here, where there's just massive old trees and then it's been completely scoured underneath. That's not healthy for the forest. But what I do want is to have my roadways and my property lines clear. So what I do is I grab all this stuff and anything that's too small or too unwieldy to be bucked into firewood when I get it back, and I'll take that and make a fence. I'm using this to make a fence over the years along my property lines. And what that's going to do is, for one, it'll eventually turn into a hill along the property line. It'll just be a nice straight line here where I am. And the other thing is, it provides cover for rodents, and I'm really far away from my garden, so I'm hoping that the rodents that live out here and have good habitat are attracting the foxes and the eagles and the hawks that would otherwise bother my livestock and keeping them out here in the woods.
In part 1 of this video, I explained how to use the bar of your chainsaw as a ruler to know you're cutting your firewood to a length that will actually fit in the stove. An alternative to this is building a custom bucking horse specifically designed with this in mind. As long as the wood is centered and I cut between the uprights, I'll cut my 4-foot logs into 16-inch firewood.
My idea originally with putting the woodshed down here was essentially that I'd be able to come out of the woods, and I'll show it in a minute. I have my road goes over through the woods. I'd like to be able to come out the road, come across the lawn, come down this hill to the woodshed, and then keep driving. And I've kind of started working out a circle so that I come back up through the woods, and I can either come back out and go to the four-wheeler shed, or I can go back in the woods. This will be the first test. So I've done that in theory, and I know the road isn't wide enough to be comfortable, especially with this trailer. I got this for free last year from my father-in-law. It's an old sprayer trailer. It's been sitting on a stone wall for years and years since he stopped the dairy farm operation. And I was looking for a trailer and just happened to be talking to him about it. He's like, why don't you just try to use this? So anyway, here I am using this for my pulp trailer to get firewood out of the woods. So I didn't design the road with this wide trailer. It's got extremely wide wheels. The base is really wide. So I didn't design it for that. So I'm gonna test it out right now and see if I can actually make it all the way through. I left my chainsaw up on the lawn. I may have to go get it and cut myself out, but we'll see how it goes. All right, so I did have to come up and get my chainsaw. I got down in and noticed right away that there's a stump that's in the way. I've got a big old dead cedar tree that's gonna come down. I'm not gonna cut that down right now. I wanna talk to Emily about it before. It's definitely dead, but just wanna make sure she's okay with that tree coming down before I take it down. I can use it in the garden. But anyway, let me show you the pathway here for hopefully the woods road. The woods road's right there, and what I wanna be able to do is come out and either go up there to the trail, to the shed where the four-wheeler stays, or come across here and go down this hill, and there's the woodshed. And then I want to be able to drop off like I just did and buck that out, and then just keep going in a big circle down in through the woods here, curving around here, and then follows that curve up, and then I want to be able to just curve back up there. But this stump right here is right in the way, so I'm gonna take that down, and ideally I'd like to take that tree right there down, but again I'm gonna check with Emily on that first. So just gonna clean this up, take the stump and these cedar logs and move those out of the way.
One of the first things I did when we bought this place was build a deck. I had to rip down a rickety set of stairs that was clearly only put in place to appease an insurance inspector. The first summer I built the deck. Last summer I put the roof on. Unfortunately, our home is oriented the wrong way in terms of passive solar heating. So, the west-facing wall on this deck means the house is incredibly hot in the summer. The deck helped, especially the roof. But the deck itself becomes so hot in late afternoon that it's very unusable. Working from home as I do, I enjoy working outside on this deck all summer. But it gets so hot that my phone and laptop actually overheat if I don't slide down the table toward the house as the sun slides toward the horizon. So, we're going to install some exterior shades. We really enjoy having friends and family at the homestead, and we want to be able to entertain into the evening. So, we've also been hoping to install some lighting. Emily found just what she was looking for, and I'm going to install the string of lights she brought home the other day.